Now we're going to talk about the applied triple clamp. I would categorize triple clamps more into the steering category, but applied does have a good looking clamp, which is going to make the bling and the look of your bike a lot better. This triple clamp is a 20 millimeter offset, which actually on the Yamaha 20 millimeters is 22 millimeters is standard, so 20 is 2 millimeters closer to you. You keep the same rake on the bike. The fork pitch is exactly the same. You just move it in 2 millimeters closer to you. In this case, why we're doing this is to give a little more weight on the front end, pulling the front end a little more underneath you. It just gives a more positive feel to the motorcycle and gives the front tire more traction. The applied triple clamp is actually a really nice triple clamp. They have a feature in the bar mounts, underneath the bar mounts, which are rubber mounted. You can either hard mount them or you could run the rubber mounting pieces that they come with it. It's really your option, what feels best to you, maybe track condition, whatever. You know, if everyone feels different every day at the track, so whatever how your day is going is kind of the way that you might want to run these triple clamps. Everything else, the applied triple clamp comes with a stem already pressed in the bottom triple clamp, and you're going to need to put your bearing on the stem, which is pretty easy as long as you have a press, or you might just want to come to Chaparral and have us put it on. But it's very simple to put a triple clamp on. Let's go down to the shop and let's do it, and we'll show you maybe some tricks of the trade that'll make it a little bit easier when you purchase yours and you're putting yours on. How I normally like to when I'm changing triple clamps, usually it's at the test track, so we're trying to do it quick, but a shortcut is to pull the front forks off with the front wheel still attached, with the axle still in and everything. Gonna have to take the front brake line or the front master cylinder loose too, and take the whole front end off at the same time. So I've taken the front brake guide loose, and then I am going to loosen these bottom triple clamp bolts, pinch bolts, and the bottom of the top one. Do the same on the other side. Both bottom pinch bolts, and then the bottom pinch bolt on the top clamp. And then we'll pull these bolts out. I always start with the bottom one. And she usually tries to get away from you here, so you're gonna have to put a hand on the master cylinder just to hang on to it. Now we can get to our top triple clamp bolt, and we'll loosen one side first, doesn't matter which side it is, and then move to the next. Now this is the last triple clamp bolt, so you're going to just put your foot underneath the front wheel just to support it, and then you'll loosen it slowly. You don't want your forks to slide out. Straighten the wheel, get everything out of your hands, and just work your fork legs down. Sometimes they want to slide out easy, so you got to be ready. Make sure you get a hold of your front brake master cylinder. You don't want that banging around. And then just slide the forks right out. Now we'll just put this off to the side. Now we want to take our front number plate off, just a single bolt on top, and then your cable strap. Now we need to get the handlebars off, and we need to take them off the bar mount. So we're going to take our pad off our Pro Taper bars. And then we are going to loosen these 10 millimeter bolts. Then you can take your front ones out. And just lay your bars up on your front fender. It'll support it for now. Now we want to take the top triple clamp nut off. There's a thin steel washer between the top triple clamp and your adjustment bolt underneath. Make sure that that's not stuck on the top triple clamp, or yeah, when you put your other one on, it's going to be misheight in the front end. So just set that aside just so you don't lose it. And then give these a few taps, get it loose. And then you can do the rest with your hands. Now that you have your triple clamp off, before you set it down, make sure you take your front fender off. First time we could get to these bolts easy. So the first three come off pretty simple. Then you better pay attention on the fourth. Okay, front fender's off. So what we've done is we press the standard stem out of the stock clamp, and when I pressed the stem out, the bearing freed itself. I took the bearing off the standard stem and then pressed it onto the applied stem. Now that we have our bearing greased, we can hold the handlebars out of the way and slide the stem up into the steering stem. And then tighten your adjustment bolt down. I've already put the washer on top of it. You don't have to do that yet, but it doesn't seem to cause any problems. And then I just tighten it as tight as I can by hand. We'll adjust that in a little bit. Next, I'm going to turn the bottom clamp to the stop, and then I'm going to give this a couple taps and just tighten it a little bit more than what we could tighten it by hand. Now we can put our top triple clamp on. I've taken the bar mounts off just to make it easier to get to the nut. Slip that on, make sure it's secure, and tighten your nut down. I know I said it a second ago, but I'm going to say it again. Make sure that you replace that steel washer on that adjuster bolt below this top triple clamp. Very important. And then just get that hand tight. So we're going to put this bar mount in the back position. When I say back position, the hole is not in the center of the bar mounts. And so by saying the back position, I'm going to locate the threaded hole forward in the bar mounts, which will make the bar mount sit a little further back towards the rider. Same to the other side. Just get it snug with your hands. Now we're going to replace the whole front end. We took it off in one piece. It's going to go on in one piece. Like before, get a hold of this front brake master cylinder and your brake line. Make sure it doesn't get out of control and slap on your bike. And then make sure your cables are in the right spot. When those forks slide up in there, you want to make sure the cables are on the inside of the fork tube next to the frame. Just make sure you're at the bottom of the cap or wherever you run your forks. I normally run them at the bottom of the cap, or try to. And then you'll want to tighten this top pinch bolt. Go ahead and tighten the bottom one while you're at it. And you want to get the other side now. But just snug them. Not all the way tight. And then you want to do the bottom ones. Now we're going to loosen this top triple clamp back up now that we have everything fairly close to in place, because we're going to tighten the front end, the bearings and everything. So to do that, since this nut is going to pull tight and pull the top triple clamp down, we want to have these loose so that there's no binding or anything. It's just going to slide as far down as it needs to go. Now that we have the adjustment nut, I don't know if it's perfect, but in a good spot, closer, we're going to tighten this head stay nut down, triple clamp nut. Now that we have the steering adjusted and the top triple clamp tight, we can tighten these top pinch bolts. And then we're going to put our handlebars on. So we can take this bar mount off. Now the bar mounts are still loose on the bottom, but we'll just wait to get the bars on there and make sure everything feels good. And then we'll tighten it all up at one time. Now we're going to put our handlebars back on. And if you change your clamps, usually your bar mounts are going to be maybe in a different spot. So use your ticks on your handlebars to make sure that the bar is centered and in the right position. With that on, we can put our bar mount clamp on. Don't over tighten anything yet. Just snug it up. Okay, and just get them snug. Your bolt's snug right now, because we still have to tighten the bottom bar mounts to the top triple clamp. Now we're going to tighten the bottom bar mounts, the bolts that go into the bar mounts, and it's easier to get to it because you don't have a front number plate on it or anything. So it's easier to get to it from the front. Get it nice and snug. Go to your other side. Get it a little tighter. You don't need to over tighten these, but definitely make sure you got them tight. And check them throughout the day when you're riding and breaking your bike in. Always important to check your bolts all the time. Now we're going to put our front brake master cylinder on, back onto the handlebars. Get it in place and then tighten it down. You don't have to get everything perfect. You still have to set your bars and set your levers in the right position. So just get your levers snug, your bars in a decent position, so when you do set them, you don't have to go a million miles off. Now we're going to put our front fender back in place. Now we're going to replace the front brake guide. It just slips right into place there. It has two little bevels on each side that makes it guide right into place. The guide has a guide. And then you just tighten the bolt with the shim on it. And then just give it snug tighten down. Now all we have to do is replace the standard number plate, and it has posts just like the standard triple clamp does. You just have to center those, make sure your cables are straight, get your bolt, and drop it into place and run it in. Now all we have to do is put the handlebar crossbar pad on, which I have in my hand, and then crossbar pad cover in place, and then wrap your cable protector, and we're together. As you can see, putting the applied triple clamp on is not that hard of a job. It definitely will take a little bit of time and maybe a little longer if you haven't done it before, but you know, follow kind of the way that I did it, and it's a fairly easy job. Just make sure when you're done, you want to check the torque on the triple clamp bolts. Torque them at the standard spec. You'll find it in the book. The book that comes with the motorcycle maintenance book, and set your handlebars, set your levers, make sure everything feels comfortable before you even take off to go try the triple clamp out. But applied triple clamp is a good triple clamp, especially with the change to the offset we made, and yeah, you saw how easy it is to put on. Don't forget, there are 3 ways that you can order here at Chaparral. You can call our 800 number, which is 800-841-2960. Go to our website, shapmoto.com, or just come on into our store and you'll be able to order whatever you need.